Hi guys, Kieran Rai here, Ralph Pereira, Ajit Kumar, and we've got Shruti Hassan, big Bollywood actress and also singer, known in India and very much known in London. Shruti, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Just trying to deal with lockdown and quarantine, you know?
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So first of all, Shruti, I was going to ask you, the world is very different, right? You know, the world now, obviously, you know, you're traveling the world, you're in films, you're doing amazing stuff, but now you're quarantined in India, or India is quarantined. How are you dealing with quarantine?
Well, I've been saying this quite a bit to people, and I think that the one thing that has really helped me is I see people struggling with what do I do? I can't go to work. Of course, it's very difficult, especially financially. It's psychologically a difficult time, and it's a different time to anything we faced in our lifetimes. It's a very rare occurrence. For me personally, this time has been very fruitful, and it has helped me expand into other avenues of creative expression, such as writing. And as well as writing my music, as well as learning that technology is truly our friend in times like this. I've recorded songs with my producer in London, thanks to technology. We're going to be releasing a song soon, shooting it ourselves. I've done photo shoot covers for 2 magazines. So for me, it's just been an amazingly productive time. And to be honest with you, it's been amazing because nobody else has control over my time right now. So it turns out I am actually a very organized person. So
Fantastic.
it's been quite, it's been quite good for
and
me.
Obviously you're very well known when it comes to the South Indian cinema. I know that you
Yes.
won 3 Filmfare awards. Your father is Kamal Hassan, and you're from a great legacy kind of family. Now my question to you is, obviously there are some called people that are lucky, and there are some people that have to work hard. Now, I'm sure that you've worked hard. That's no disputable. You've had to work. You've worked your own name. It's not all about someone has a famous father. That means I'm going to make it. You've worked your own thing. Did you struggle at the start when you started your career? Were you struggling? Was it hard for you to break through the door, or would you think it was easy?
I mean, it wasn't hard to break through the door. It was hard to stay in the room. So the door opened, and for me to not acknowledge the fact that I wasn't even a person who had the plan of acting. I was like an alternative rock musician with a band, and I needed, I wanted to make some extra money, and someone offered me a film. This is literally how I entered the business. And I can't lie about it. I am very well aware of the fact that this opportunity I got is because of my surname. What I didn't expect was to fall so madly in love with the craft of acting and wanting to continue in it. And it became the blind date that became a marriage for life, in a sense.
Exactly.
And I'm very grateful for what destiny had in store for me, including my surname. But destiny means nothing without hard work. Luck means nothing without hard work. Ironically, my first film was called Luck. But I know the work I've put in, and I know that it's not easy for anybody anywhere to stay longer than 5 years in any business. So I enjoyed the work, and I enjoyed the battle of staying with a certain level of integrity as well.
Ajit Kumar, your question after you.
Yeah, just to follow up on that one, if you were to choose to be an actor or a music maker, I wouldn't just call you a singer. I know you go beyond. Which profession would you choose?
I've chosen to be an entertainer, and that's very convenient because it encompasses everything. I don't have to choose. There was a point, Mr. Ajito, honestly, where I had to choose to give more time to cinema. So I would say the last 8 years of my life were consistently dedicated, like previously, prior, out of the 10 years. The last 2 years have been me shifting focus back to music and my independent music. It's not been easy because people feel that it's an unexpected choice, that you shouldn't be grappling 2 careers. But I've made it work. I'm really excited that, especially like before the pandemic, it was lovely to be doing shows in London, starting from scratch.
You like London? It sounds like you like London quite a bit. Do you like London?
I do love London. that's another topic. But to do that and to like live an almost schizophrenic, artistically schizophrenic life of finishing that and then flying to the deepest south part of India to finish my Tamil film, it's exciting, and I'm managing it. I mean, jet lag's an absolute nightmare, but other than that, I'm managing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ralph, question after you.
Shruti, it's great to hear, like somebody like you coming up and talking and explaining how you have to change in your entertainment side. You live in a country very diversified and people who have got many issues because of what happened with pandemic. Like you are very fortunate because, where you are coming from. We have interviewed many people in this journey that we are going through. And what we found was that, there's a lot of people who are struggling in their life. It's not easy for them to possibly to do what you do or maybe what I do. So what kind of advice can you give those people? Because, jobs are not going to be forever, the way how the world is going. What can you kind of tell from your own life experience that maybe something they can, maybe they can learn or they can, make a difference to their lives?
The one thing that I have learned for myself, Raf, is that I feel that gratitude has been a big part of my journey. It sounds very old-fashioned and simple, but at night I have gratitude and I thank for the roof over my head, that I have this much money to pay for my food, that I have the technology to connect with you all. And I think when you learn to practice gratitude is when you are aware of those people around you who don't have it, and therefore that awareness alone leads you to helping, to understanding, and to assimilating what is happening around the bubble that you live in. So what I would say is that mental health has been a major focus in the times of this pandemic. And I'm glad in a sense because this is something that should have been spoken about anyway before. It took a pandemic for people to realize that things like depression, anxiety, loneliness, all of these are real issues. But I think that that's still a problem that is far removed from what we're going through in India with migrant laborers not being able to go home. They don't have ways, they don't have food, they don't have means. So I think that for me, when people are putting up posts saying, can't wait to go back on a beach vacation or like eat at a restaurant, I personally am not able to bring myself to think along those lines. I have gratitude. Yes, sorry?
No, go on, darling. Go on. I was asking, do you feel like, as an actress, obviously being in the media, being in the showbiz industry, do you feel sometimes that you also suffer from maybe, because we all suffer from mental health issues. I think the whole world does in a certain sense.
Yes.
Do you have anxiety issues? Do you?
Yes, I have spoken about them in the past, and I was very nervous about how it would be received. I've also been in therapy, which I propagate talk therapy, which I like really try and promote as much as I can. I read this really lovely quote somewhere that said, all of us are in therapy for the people in our lives who don't go to therapy. And it's really true. And I feel that therapy is something that helped me. I've suffered from an anxiety disorder practically my whole life, which went undiagnosed for the most part. And I also joined a business which is a very heightened, high energy, high competitive environment. And I always felt, why am I not being able to function at the same level of proficiency as other people? And I feel that understanding that I had anxiety, talking through talk therapy, and actually being able to connect with people and say, it is real, these things are real. And these things can job.
Awards, obviously as an actress, right? Winning, we've interviewed some great people in India, and some of them say, yeah, awards drive me, awards don't, right? Now, yes, it's great to be recognized, don't get me wrong, but there's also a thing called love your craft. Now, does awards, sometimes does awards give you that passion to keep going forward? Does it keep you going to say, right, I need some, or you're not bothered about it? Because I know you've won a lot of awards in film. You won in 2030, you won the CIMA Awards, Stardust Awards, Edison Awards, DJ Awards, Filmfare Awards, Cine MMA Awards, Asian Vision Awards. I mean, the list goes on. So obviously you're very credited when it comes to that. What's your opinion about all these awards now? Do you think it's all just...
I'm very thankful very thankful to have received them, but they don't drive me. I was working with Mr. Akshay Kumar, and he said something lovely. He said, work for rewards, not awards, and make your reward whatever it means to you. And for me, the reward has been to be able to find my authentic voice as an artist, to take risks, to do things in my career, or stop my career and restart it, which nobody thought was a wise idea. But now I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. To have the courage. And that comes from like the rewards you give yourself in the larger picture. I'm very thankful for the awards, but quite frankly, they're all on top of my fridge in my apartment in Bombay. I don't even have a shelf for them. So I'm maybe not, like, I just find it creepy, like when I go to people's house sometimes and they have like a wall full of awards, like in their living room. I'm like, maybe we can't be the best of friends. You know?
And what's your opinion about social media? Because I know you've got 14.5 million people on Instagram, and I know sometimes people say having a like to that, you know, social media can be also very negative because everyone's always after you, you know, and everyone can always reach you, but at the same time, it's a peek into your life. What's your opinion about social media?
I was one of the first people to join MySpace, like when I was a music student. And then came Twitter. I was one of the first people on Twitter. I've always loved social media, and I'll tell you why. For me, it's like a litmus test or the thermometer of the current scenario. How much you choose to take from this temperature reading is up to you. Now, there are not so great people, even on the street, when you're walking by. If you choose, and unfortunately in life, you don't have a block button. I love that you have a block button on social media. I wish we had one in real life, you know, but I take the positives from it. I have received more love than I've received negativity, to be completely honest with you. And I find it a great way for us as actors, musicians, whatever, to put our narrative across without depending on the medium. Or hopefully Kiran will ask me that question today, or hopefully Ralph or Ajit will ask me this thing that I really want to say. How am I going to weave it into the interview? All that's like gone, because now we can control our narrative. And then if you mess that up, then that's on you as well, I suppose.
Exactly. Ajit, question after you.
Yeah, obviously, many cities have lifted up the lockdown now, but the fear of corona has not gone away. What's your piece of advice to your friends and colleagues? You know, who some of us, I'm including myself, but not exactly going out. But I know a lot of people are just taking it easy, going and living a normal life. What's your piece of advice for them?
So there's two things to this. Like, I've had half a day of shoot and it was absolutely terrifying. But you know, I have to say that we have to get back to work. We all have bills to pay. We have like mortgages and EMIs and rents and like it's like a practical thing that many people need to get back to work. So yes, there has to be some sort of system for us to get back to our lives. There is no normal as we remember it. But again, like going back to my previous point, like you have to be aware of the situation. The lockdown's gone away, not even fully in most places. Corona hasn't gone away. Like, you are still at risk, and you may think I'm fine. You're putting other people at risk. So that level of responsibility has to be there. And people being like, oh God, I just really need to go out and chill with my friends. It's like, come on, not right now, you know? So I would really say that going to work, maintaining social distance and taking the precautions and continuing to work is absolutely of paramount importance, financially speaking, for the entire world. But having to chill and just like vibe with people without masks is like not happening.
And I also want to ask a question, because I also think many people, when they ask you, yeah, about your career. But I want to know more about you, right, as a person, right? Now, yes, you're very well known. Yes, you're very influenced on social media. Now, I haven't done my research that deep to know, so I'd rather know from you. Do you find it hard to date people? You know, because obviously...
No, I don't.
Lovely, excellent. Well, that's good. But do you, you know, because obviously you don't know...
I stopped dating actors, Kiran. That's
Kiran, you're out now.
It's been a while since I dated an actor, and I'm really doing better for it.
But do you know what kind of men do you go for? What makes you, because me as a man, when I see a woman, I like a personality. I like to go for cocktails. I like to go for dinner. I like to go for jazz, a bit of chatting. Now, what attracts you, and what attracts you as a woman for a man? What kind of man are you attracted to?
It's really simple. Intelligence. Can't have a conversation. Goodbye. Kindness. Kind people are very rare in the world today. People who take the time to listen to other people, understand, and are willing to change. And someone who's ambitious. And by that I don't mean like I want like these many G's and like a car, like not like ambition for change and growth.
Right. Yeah. And also, at the moment, are you dating anybody at the moment? Are you talking to anybody?
No, I'm not. We're in the middle of a pandemic, mate.
Yeah.
What you want about?
And are you? Let me ask you: are you more of a clubbing girl? Are you more of a dinner person? Do you like a man to treat you? Are you a flower person? Do you like going? Are you? I don't know.
Are you going to start a dating profile for me? I love it.
Of course.
I like to cook for my friends and family, and I like to have a quiet evening at home. I'm really boring like that. I don't remember the last time I was in a club. I've also been sober for 3 years, so nightclubs is just like not my scene anymore. Like I'll go to a bar with my friends and have a Diet Coke, but like going to a club is just not like, I love to communicate and have good food and be at home.
And would you also date someone that's not from India? Let's say, for instance, someone from London.
Oh, I have. Yes, in the past. Yes, of course. I'm a global citizen, Lala.
That's good. And actually, you know what? I'll give the answer. Ajit, a question after you.
Yeah, I agree with Kiran. I think you come across as a very surprise package. People can have a different perception seeing you on the screen. I think this is a really good addition to our conversation to get to know about you. You're deep rooted. You have a lot of gratitude in your way of thinking. It's against the perception if I were to generalize. What's in the long run? What do you want to do in about 10, 15 years? Are you a family person? Do you foresee yourself to have a kind of a plan or an approach for life?
See, I think that right now, starting a family or having a commitment of that level is not in my plans, because there are many things I want to achieve in my career. I hate to have resentment in pockets. I'm just not that kind of person. So I like to finish stuff and know that this is what I'm doing. My focus right now is, because I'm switching from acting back into a balance of acting and music, as well as there's so many artistic avenues I've not explored yet. And so for me, the next 10, 15 years, I can't tell you. I just think the aim is to keep being ready to evolve. And I think as much as I keep that in mind, and and it's not go with the flow as much as it is be ready to fight the tide when you have to, be ready to let go when you have to, but be ready always to evolve. Like you have to be on that racetrack of personal evolution. And when I found that when I'm focused on that, then things naturally and organically have fallen into place in my life, professionally and personally, in a way that has been beneficial to me.
And also, what do you think of the English food here? Because I know Indian food is very, spicy. You've got the naan, you've got the roti.
Oh, do you mean like fake Indian food in England?
Yes, absolutely. What do you think of the fake Indian food here?
There is one place I eat in for South Indian food called Chettinad in Tottenham Court Road. And I go there because they have Katrika Korambu, which is legit. And I recommend that highly. I've heard of Tayyab's, but I've not eaten there, but great reviews. Everything else.
Yeah. And what do you think of fish and chips?
I love me some fish and chips, mate. I discovered mash and pie and mash, and that's just like my favorite ever.
So no, go on after you, darling. Go on after you. Go on.
There's another vegetable which tastes all buttery called samphire, which I had never had. And I'm just absolutely in love with that. I actually love the English food.
That's good. Do you also find it hard to trust people? Because obviously,
No.
right, but like, you know, what I'm trying to say is because, you know, when someone is known, everybody follows you. When you meet somebody like a husband or a boyfriend or a friend, and you don't know what people's intentions are. Are they there to take things from you? Are they there to just use you? You know, when you're that high and you've got a famous farmer behind you as well, you don't know who's after you. It's called a morph. It's kind of like it's a hidden agenda. Do you think about that?
You know, having grown up as the daughter of two famous people, you start building a radar or a recognition system for this very early on. You can immediately tell the people who want to talk to you because they're like, how's your daddy? Or like, you know, you can just tell.
You get sick of that?
Or you know, I'm sorry?
You get tired of that? People asking you the same question? Or
No, that's fine. I mean, that's what my parents have worked for, that recognition and adulation. So I never regret it. Not for me, not for them. But I also went to a very grounding school, Collabicus, where it didn't matter what your background was. It didn't matter who you were. And I never got treated that way by my friends, my teachers, or the other parents. So I found a very real community. So when I came out, I was able to tell the fakers from the real ones quite easily. And as far as other than that as well, as you know, in life, you can never be sure. You can never be too sure because people don't always work from malice or agenda. Sometimes they just mess up. And that's why I don't spend my energy focusing on not trusting. I spend my energy on building a foundation strong enough so I don't have to build walls.
Okay, so that means what you're saying basically is somebody that you just imagine you meet someone in a bar or a restaurant or on the bus stop or wherever, on the train or whatever. Do you like it that they also, because obviously you're very connected on social media, do you like it as an actress that when people don't recognize you and they treat you as you, do you like that when they go,
I love that.
There we go.
I do love that as well. I love my life in London because I'm like on the tube until someone recognizes me. And honestly, every time they've been lovely and we have a lovely chat for about 3 stops. And then, you know, they take a picture and I carry on and they go on their way and it's fine, you know.
And what about
getting
to English films? What about planning to come to, you know, obviously you've got a beautiful face and, you know, you're
I had finished last year my first American TV show, Treadstone. And now I have an agent in England as well. So I will probably be doing some stuff there. But basically my focus for England has always been music. I've always believed that the best music, the best bands, the best artists have come out of England. I think that England has a great palette for unique music.
And also, what's the difference between Indian, South Indian movies and Bollywood? Because I know you've got Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, Akshay Kumar, the great people. And why have you decided to go down to South India instead of actually, I mean,
because I'm Tamilian, because I'm South Indian.
Right.
Gotta stick with my peeps.
And do you speak what is it, the South Indian language? Tamil, yeah.
I speak Tamil and Telugu from the south, which I work in, both the industries. Speak Hindi as well. I grew up in a multicultural home, so I don't segregate. Also, you know, India were like a very populated country, but we're not the largest country. So to then further dice this already small country into smaller sections just doesn't make sense to me. I don't find the difference from language to language. I find that the difference is from people who are in charge. You know, they dictate, like a company, like any place. The people on the topmost rung of the system dictate the vibe of the rest of the production, the movie, the company, whatever you want to call it. So I can't give you a regional geographical difference. But I would say that I feel blessed to have been born in a multicultural home. But having predominantly been brought up in the South, I associate and I find more of a connect to my South Indian roots. Yes.
And also, you know, sadly, sometimes in the world of arts, entertainment, business, in showbiz, there's a lot of thing called, I think in India, I think they call it nazar. Now, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are jealous for some people. I'm not going to say the names, but I know there are a lot of people out there who would be. Now, I know sadly a brilliant actor, Sushant Singh, he died, he passed away. And also you got Rishi Kapoor, Irfan Khan. But Sushant Singh, he really made headlines. What was your opinion about that situation? What was your opinion about the whole thing?
Well, first of all, I was extremely sad and really upset when at first Irfan Khan sir passed away and then Rishi sir, and it was like a lot. With Sushant, I think there was a big collective shift in understanding that we don't know people. What they put out maybe isn't what they are. I would like to focus even now on the amazing work he did, that he managed to move so many people with his amazing work. Every other speculation, every other discussion, every other sharing of images on social media, everybody getting on it because they have nothing else to do. It's just not respectful to a soul. I think his soul was in his work and he's left that for us, and that's absolutely beautiful, and I just choose to focus on that.
And why do you think, though, it made such headlines also? It came over to UK and it went to United States, Canada, and made a lot of headlines.
Of course.
Because
First of all, because he was young and talented and did amazing work. As well as the fact that the way it happened was extremely, extremely upsetting. And at a time like this, even more.
Ajit, last couple of questions for you and Ralph.
Yeah, sure. You mentioned about talk therapy. Talking about Sushant, it feels, and many of us feels that if somebody could have spoken to him at that time, maybe that moment would have passed away. Can you tell us more about your approach to talk therapy you mentioned earlier?
So I would hate to speculate on that situation because we don't know how many people were talking to him or what was going on. So it's like not fair to speculate on that at all. As far as my experience goes with therapy is, I had a therapist in India, yes, but it was never the same. My therapist is actually in London, and I feel almost a bit better because she doesn't need to know the family background. She doesn't need to know things. So that was the first big step for me to possibly in my life for the first time communicate openly about issues, about strengths, about weaknesses. I believe anything can be solved through communication, from the largest to the smallest of issues. And I believe the first level of communication is with yourself. And a lot of people aren't talking with themselves. And I don't mean like having, I mean being able to have difficult conversations with yourself. And therapy helps very much to put those things into perspective. I don't know the number of people I've recommended therapy to, and I'm just like the official recommender of therapy now. But I genuinely think that there are things, no matter how much your partner or your parents or your friends love you, and they really do, they are not in the absolute objective position to help you in a professional manner. So if you had a fever or a temperature for 3 days, you would tell your mom, you would tell your husband, but on the fourth day, you're going to go to a doctor, and the mind is very much the same way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. Thank you.
And
just to ease up the mood, I think Kiran has been interviewing a lot of famous chefs around the world. I would love to see them, your comment about the Indian foods in London, and you should get a lot of recommendations after that.
And also, Shruti, I also want to say, because we've only got 5 minutes left on here, so let's get closed down. I want to say, before we go, I want to say it was a pleasure talking to you. And
same here.
You really are a very decent person. I hope we didn't go too deep in things. I think, as people, we have jobs to do, but at the same time, we are human beings. And, but
Mate, you just upped my dating profile. I'm okay with it.
I'm here, don't worry. But whenever you come to London, be great to meet. Great to meet up and dinner. And, when I ever come to India, or me and Ralph or whatever.
Yes, please, you're more than welcome. We shall have a meal.
Let me just pause this. Give me 1 sec. Let me just pause.